Welcome everybody. This is Jason, and the name of this week's workshop is the color out of space. This is part one. This is about making non-recolorable objects recolorable. This is the MMAT method. So we'll have a look. What makes objects recolorable? So there are several components of the scene graph that work together to make objects recolorable. The MMAT, that's the material override or the top tier resource. It basically tells the crest, hey, this subset is recolorable, make it recolorable. And in addition to that, you have the TXMT, which is the material definition, and you have the TXTR. If you were to create just a regular color extension package or a recolor, the only three resources it would contain would be the MMAT, the TXMT, and the TXTR. What steps do we need to follow? To make a non-recolorable object recolorable, we will need to add an MMAT resource, configure the MMAT that consists of renaming the subset name property, fixing the GID, renaming the name, that's a TXMT, renaming the model name, that's a crest, and then using a hash generator to generate a new family value. Then for every recolor, we would need to add an additional MMAT, TXMT, and TXTR. The MMAT's properties. So the MMAT, it's essentially a text resource that you can edit. In order to configure it properly, you would need to change all of these things. The subset name, that's the name of the subset in the GMDC. The GID, this is right out of the OBJD. The name of the subset, this is the actual TXMT. The model name is a crest, and family is, it's a unique value. It's kind of like a GID, but for this type of resource. So the first step will be to add the MMAT. So click anywhere in the resource tree. Then we click the resource in the resource list. Right click and we would select add in the dropdown. Then the first step would be to change the subset name property. So we got the subset name. We enter the name of the subset that we want to make recolorable. We hop over to the OBJD and then we check that little checkbox that says update all. We click the update button, then we click the commit button. Now, if we hop back over to the MMAT, we can see that it has applied our new OBJD. We would need to copy the name of the TXMT. In this case, it would be the Chrome. So whatever the name of the object is plus Chrome, but we don't want to overwrite that prefix. So we leave the prefix and we don't copy the underscore TXMT part. We just paste that right over. With the crest, we do the same thing. We copy the file name, including the underscore crest, and we just paste that right over, making sure not to overwrite the prefix. Then as a last step, we go to Tools, Object Tools, Hash Generator. Then we select the radio dial that says GID, and it's going to generate a long string of characters. We just copy that entire string of characters and we paste it right over the family. We just overwrite whatever was in the text box. Then we commit and save. So the MMAT is configured. Next, we need to mess with the GMND. So we select the GMND in the resource tree, then again in the resource list, and we immediately hop over to the Edit Blocks tab. Then in the Edit Blocks tab, in that dropdown, we select See Data List Extension. We return to the Content tab and we go to the Object Graph Node tab. What we're doing here, we added a block, but to make sure that the object doesn't break, to make sure that it's not going to crash at startup, we need to enable that block. So then we click on the Add link, and then in the Enabled text box, we change that to 1, and we need to make sure that this is a unique block. So this is the 8th block. We would change the index value to 8. That should enable it. We commit it. In the dropdown, the block list dropdown, we go to where we added the new block. We can see that it has that 0x7. That means that it's enabled. In the name, we enter TS design mode enabled. We make sure that array is selected in that lower right dropdown and we click add. And then we add the subset name in that array value and we commit. The GMND now recognizes this subset as a recolorable subset. Okay, once we've messed with the MMAT and the GMND, we go to Tools, Object Tools, Fix Integrity. We click on the update link, then we click OK. We don't really need to rename it. We're just clicking OK. And what this does is stitches together all of the new resources. Then as a final step, we go to Tools, Object Tools, Scenegrapher. And as you can see, this MMAT is now hooked up correctly to the TXMT and to the crest. Then as a last step, if we're going to make it recolorable, obviously we need recolors, so we need to clone our resources. In this case, I just hop down to the TXTR in the resource tree, and then in the resource list, I select the apple texture, not the shadow one, and I right click and select clone. Then we would build the DXT out as we normally do. We right click on the image, insert it into the DDS builder. Then we need to rename the file name. And once we've done that, we just commit. Next, we go to the Chrome TXMT, the one that's linked to the apple texture. We right click on that and we select clone in the dropdown. We need to rename the file name. So in this case, I'm just going Chrome green because it corresponds to the texture that I just added. Then we go to the standard material base texture name and we rename that whatever we name the texture. We need to make sure that we still have the prefix, so we don't overwrite the prefix. We just change the texture name and then we commit. Then we go to the MMAT. We select the MMAT in the resource tree. Once again, in the resource list, we right click, we select clone from the dropdown. Then this time, because we've already configured it, the only two properties that we need to concentrate on are name and family. So we just rename name to whatever the new material is. We need to change default material to false, because if you don't, it will pull this material as the default material when you place the object. And then we need to generate a new family value. So as before, we would go to the hash generator, generate a new family name, and just paste that over. We need to do a second fixed integrity operation to stitch together all of the resources that we just added. So we go to Tools, Object Tools, Fix Integrity. As before, we don't rename anything. We just click that update link and then OK. We just double check in the scene graph that everything is stitched together. And now we're ready to test in game. Okay, to get started on the practical part of the workshop, we open SimPE, we go to Object Workshop, and we're looking for Decorative Sculpture. Okay, so we select Apple of the Eye, then Next. Don't mess with any of the settings here, just click Next. I'm going to call this 1 because next week we're creating a different apple and we're going to make it recolorable but using a different method. And let's go 350. Give that scene graph a unique name. Click on Update, click on OK, and Workshop Apple 1. Okay. Now, going to leave most everything as is, but I just want this to have a unique GID. So we go to the OBJD and just generate a GID as you normally would. For me, it's my spreadsheet. Paste that value over. And we commit and save. And we don't really need to change anything else. So because I had the OBJD already selected, I just select it up here in the resource list. Then I right click and I add. And what we're adding is that MMAT. So now we've got an MMAT. The first thing that we need to replace is the subset name. So we go up to the GMDC, go to the groups tab, and I'm going to copy that name. That way I know exactly what I'm replacing. Back to the MMAT. Once again, in the resource list. So GMDC, go to the groups tab, select that first group. And then over here in the text window, copy that. Then hop back over to the MMAT and paste right over the subset name. Okay, are we good there? Next step. Okay, we commit that change. Then we go to the object data, OBJD, resource tree, resource list. Let's select this text box that says update all. Click update, click commit. And we can see this one ends in 95B. So we hop back up to the MMAT. And now that object GID, that corresponds to what we actually have. So we can commit that. Now we need to go to the TXMT. So we go to TXMT. We're looking for the Chrome one. So we just copy the file name without the underscore TXMT. Then we hop back to the MMAT. And we're going to paste right over that, but stop at the exclamation point. We need that prefix. So we commit that change. Then we go to the CRES. Once again, in the resource list. This time we're copying the entire file name, including the underscore. We hop back to the MMAT. We grab that model name property. We select everything but the prefix, and we just paste right over. Then, as a final step, we go to Tools, Object Tools, Hash Generator. And you've got three options here. We're selecting this radio dial that says GUID. We copy this long string of text. Just Control C. Select the family property, and we just paste right over that value. Commit. Give it a quick save. Hey folks, Editing Jason here. So when I did the original presentation of the workshop, during the initial run of the practical part, I forgot to edit the GMND. So we got the object in game. It wasn't recolorable. We had to go back and re-edit the GMND. So the recording is a little bit out of sync. I had to splice it and move the GMND to where it logically would go in the timeline. If things look a little bit out of order, I do apologize for that. We go to the GMND, select the GMND in the resource list. We go to Edit Blocks. Then we need to find C Data List Extension and Add. Hop over to Content. Then we go to the Object Graph Node tab here. and we see that there are 6 blocks. So we add a block, we enable that block, and this needs to be 7. So it's going to, no, it is 7. Okay, so we added that block. Let's commit and save right quick. Back up to the GMND, or sorry, GMDC. Go to the Groups tab. Grab that subset name, copy it back to the GMND. And here in the blocks dropdown, let's grab that C data list extension that we just added. Here, we rename it TS design mode enabled. This is going to tell us which subsets are recolorable. So we go over to the array and we add. We select that property, and then in the name text box, we just paste our subset name. We commit. So we've adjusted those 5 properties in the MMAT. Now let's see if it works. Tools, object tools, scenegrapher. Let's amplify that a little bit. Now we can see everything is hooked together correctly. So we've got that. Oh, that's just the shadow. So the Chrome TXMT ties into the MMAT, and the MMAT ties into the crest. Okay. So, oh, and another thing that we can do from the MMAT, just click on that preview button. You can see it's that gold apple statue. Okay, so we've added an MMAT, we've made it recolorable, but it doesn't do us a lot of good without recolors. So what we're going to do now is add 2 recolors. We select the TXTR in the resource tree. We select the sculpture apple texture in the resource list. We right click, clone. We grab the new resource. We right click on the image, build DXT, open, and I have a couple of spares because I'm going to use these for a different workshop. Let's go apple red. And I'm just going to change the file name to texture red. Commit that. Give that a quick clone. Once again, right click, build DXT, and I'm going to grab the green one this time. Then we change the file name here to texture green. Commit. So we've added 2 TXTR, and we select the TXMT in the resource tree. We select the Chrome one in the resource list and clone. Let's make this one red. So we're changing the file name to Chrome red. And then we select standard material based texture name. Then we change that value to red. Another thing, it doesn't super matter, but one thing that I omitted in the presentation, we go to the file list, we select that texture name. We also need to change that, or best practice is to change that to red here. I don't think it super matters. So we change the properties, we change the file list, and we need to make one more. So we clone. This time we're going to make it Chrome green. Sorry, green. Change the texture name here to green. Now we hop over to the file list and we change the texture name to green here as well. So to TXMT, to TXTR, we now need 2 new MMATs. So we select our MMAT. Once again in the resource list, then we right click on it and we clone. The first thing that we need to change is the TXMT. So we go Chrome, red, then default material, we just select it here. It says true. In the value, we change this to 0, and now it says false. Now we need a new family. Tool, object tools, hash generator. We select the GID, and we select that log string of characters. We paste that over the value. That's our red one. Then we just, with the red selected, we just right click and clone once again. We change that to green. Yes. Okay, I can, okay, let me show you a trick. Object tools, hash generate. You don't need to open and close it every time. Normally, I just keep it open to the side, but because I'm doing a presentation, I only have one monitor to work with. So what I normally do, so you select this GID, it's going to generate just a random value here. Say I want a different value. You don't have to close it. Just select one of these other two things here. Then go back to GID, and now it's a completely different value. So if you're doing multiple MMATs, you can just keep this open, and to get a different value, you just pop back over here and then pop back over to GID, and it's a completely different value. So then we go to family, paste over that value, commit, save everything. So we've added 2, 2, and 2. Now we just need to go tools, object tools. This is our second fix integrity operation. And let's update and then OK. And let's have a look at that in the scene grapher. Oh, okay. This is because they're up here. So now you can see that's hooked up to the red one. That's hooked up to the green one. Okay. And before I fire up my game, let's open up scenegraph plus right quick. It doesn't have the capability to add an MMAT at this time. I think William can speak more to that, but if you want to see how it looks in scenegraph plus, sorry, forgot what I was doing. Let's grab that workshop Apple 1. So the string, I don't know what, oh, because there's a material string there for some reason. But we can see that, okay, so we've got 3 MMATs, and they are correctly linked to the crest, and then the shape is linked correctly to the default TXMT, and each of these TXMT is linked correctly to its own TXTR. What is this coming? Oh, because, okay. Because it uses a Maxis environment cube for the shine. These 3 TXMT are also pointing to that environment cube. But that's just, Scenegraph Plus is a brilliant tool. I use it a lot. It's just in this workshop, there isn't an application for it because you're adding a resource instead of reconfiguring existing resources. So we go to decorative, we go to sculptures, and we look at around 350. We've got our apple sculpture. Looks like just the regular apple sculpture, but we hit it with the design tool, and it is now recolorable. And that's it.